Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our channel. Another round. Here we go again. Hopefully, we don't be fighting by the end of this. Just drinks only. I'm your girl, Jay, aka the Sexy Tomboy on IG. And my boy.
What's up, Jay? I'm Sean Davis, 120 on IG. Just having fun tonight. We're going to chop it up and talk about our kind of people. Get into this new, show that's really diving into the Black upper class. So excited to chop it up with you, Jay. And hopefully we don't have to go too many rounds back to back to back.
Yeah, I don't think the show gonna have us fighting over this tonight. Now, if they do, they good. You see, I had to bring as Misha would call it, Miss Misha called it the zhuzh that the show
That's
gives
it.
and stuff. So I had to go get the jury and put it in the hair. So if y'all haven't seen the show, you don't understand. But my girl Yaya DaCosta, her character had found some jewelry and put it in her hair, and it was like, oh, I'm doing it.
You wearing that crown, Jay. It looks good. It
Right.
looks
Oh,
good.
my little necklace up there. Okay, so let's get into it. So our first episode opens up and we meet our lead, Miss Yaya DaCosta. And she is beautiful. She's playing the beautiful Angela Vaughn. She's our lead character in the show. She is our protagonist. And we meet her daughter, and her auntie Peggy, aka Pamela Williams, I believe. Yep, excuse me, Patricia Williams. Let me get these names together. We all gonna be all over the place today. But Miss Patricia Williams, who is played by Debbie Morgan. I love me some Debbie Morgan.
Oh
Okay.
man, she is a classic actress.
Oh my gosh, she's up there. Her and Jennifer Lewis, them is my girls and stuff. Like if I see something with them in it, I'm like, I got to watch because I know they're gonna bring it, and she brings it every single time. So she's been there since soap opera days.
Mm.
So I love her, and it's good to see Yaya doing her thing. I love it. I love it. I love it because I've watched her ever since America's Top Model. So she's becoming a wonderful, great actress out here in this thing.
Got a little crush on Yaya, man. I don't
Yeah,
know. Got to find
the
out if
boys
she's
out here
single.
single.
She's single in these streets, Jay.
Hey,
Put a
Sean,
word in for me.
yeah, my boy shooting his shot, girl. Slide into that DM, Sean Davis 120, child. Let's get into it. It's a good dude. And I think y'all both on the East Coast, so
Uh-oh. Wait.
I'm not sure. I'm just throwing it out there. She filming over there. Speaking of how they filming over there, the town is called what, Oak Bluffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're more familiar because you're on the East Coast, so you're more familiar with it. So let's tell the people about this.
So for anybody, and they showed it in the opening credits, it's based on a book with the same title, Our Kind of People by Lawrence Otis Graham. I read the book years ago, at least 10 years ago. I think I read the book. It was a New York Times bestseller. And it really goes into depth and gives a behind the scenes view of America's Black upper class. So for anybody watching this show, although the show is fictional, it is a real, true depiction of Black upper class society. So there is a place in Martha's Vineyard, which is in Massachusetts, which is an island off of right outside of Boston. You have to take a ferry to get there. And it is a place where the Black upper class have vacationed for centuries. So believe it or not, these places do exist in America. And Oak Bluffs is an actual place, and it is an actual section of Martha's Vineyard where many of the Black upper class elite live. In that place, and where you'll see depicted in different scenes, you'll see big, beautiful homes with waterfront views, and it's a real thing. Just another little tidbit, I won't go off too deep, but there's also a section of the Hamptons called Sag Harbor, which for anybody that is familiar with New York, it's at the most eastern end of Long Island. And Sag Harbor is a section of the Hamptons that many Black people vacationed in the summers too. And back when it started, it was the only place that black in the Hamptons section that black people were allowed to buy property. So black people began to then vacation and settle in these homes. So very similar to Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts, this is a section where black people have flourished for quite some time, and they vacation. They don't live there full time for the most part. The wealthy people come over from living in Boston, where they have their businesses, and then they vacation in the summers and spend their summers in Martha's Vineyard. So a little background for people who may not be familiar with what Oak Bluffs is and Martha's Vineyard represents.
That's good because I had no clue. You also mentioned earlier that it was Idlewild was filmed there. You know, that's my favorite. I love
Inkwell.
it.
Inkwell was there.
Oh, Inkwell. Oh, okay.
Inkwell,
Okay, that's what it
and
is.
what's the other movie? Jump in the Broom was
Jump in the
also
Broom. Yes, I love that
based
movie.
out of Martha's Vineyard. So, you know,
And
you'll
yes.
see that in those movies, and similar to this show, you see the kind of dichotomy from the haves and the have-nots. You see how that plays out. And there is an aspect of that because you have some very elite that live and vacation on this part of Martha's Vineyard. And then you have some people that are the workers, and you have also some people that are not as wealthy. So we'll see all of that play out and the different class structures amongst the various characters as we kind of do breakdowns. And I'll add little insights for anybody that hasn't checked out the book. It is a great book and really should give us a sense of pride, because if we really sit back and realize our history in this country and what we've done and some of the things we've been able to accomplish as a people, it is phenomenal. You know, we know some of these names like Madam C.J. Walker, right? The first woman millionaire, forget about black, but the first woman millionaire in the country, right? Self-made, had a mansion in New York, right? And we hear her name and we don't connect it, but this is all connected and part of that upper class structure. So a lot of her descendants and relatives are some of the people who make up the black upper class that we will digest and talk about in this episode.
That's awesome because I did feel like proud just watching this. It's not our usual ratchet TV, as I like to call it, or whatnot. And so we do get a lot of pride by watching this type of thing because we do see Black people in excellence, in power, in communities of other Black people who are also socialites, rich, and of wealth. And that's beautiful. That lets us know that, you know, we can make it like in places in this world. We don't just have to act like we just stuck to the hoods of United States and other countries and stuff. That, you know, we come from wealth. We are wealth.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's beautiful to know. So, you know, we get the first scenes of the ladies driving in, and we get Angela Vaughn's character, knowing that she's inherited a house from her mother's passing away. And this house is in Oak Bluffs, outside of where she's familiar with. She's from Boston. And so she gets there, her daughter, her auntie, and they get to the house, and she has a small business. Eve's shoes, I don't forgot it that quick. Stay with me, people. I'm so sorry. But it's called Eve's Crown. That's what it is. Eve's Crown. And so, you know, she's coming out here to maintain the business, keep it going. You know, she's already developed it into a profitable market. And of course, we, as Black girls, we know how our hair care is everything to us. And so that is definitely a lucrative business for the Black woman. And so I'm proud of the sister, even if she is a fictional character. But, you know, there are sisters out here that's keeping our hair together. Thank you, ladies and brothers that are out here doing it. We appreciate you because this hair.
Shout out to the barbers, you know.
I know you guys is loyal to y'all barbers. They said y'all will quit your girlfriend before you quit your barber.
Exactly. That's the most long-standing relationship that most of us men have is to our barber, unfortunately.
And they got these women barbers out here. I've been seeing the little videos of the twerking women barbers now. But yeah, so then we get into meeting the Franklin DuPont family, which is played by Nadine Ellis. She's Leah Franklin DuPont. Her husband is the sultry, sexy Wars Kodro. He is lucky he is taken. Okay, I'm not gonna go there.
Hey, don't start no trouble. Don't disrupt your happy household now.
I'm not disrupting a happy household, but I could look fondly at the merchandise that I cannot buy.
You go window shop, huh?
Window shop all day. She is a very lucky woman. I am not mad. But yes, we get that versatile brother and their two kids, Quincy and Taylor. No, excuse me, Lauren. Taylor is Angela's daughter. So Lauren DuPont. So we get them, we get a shot of them stepping off of a private jet, coming into luxury right off the bat. You know, they have the whole breakdown of the family meeting grandma. And this is where our story starts to begin. We got both dynamics, you know, the two. Sorry to tell you guys, we forgot the disclaimer at the beginning. There are spoiler alerts if you have not watched it yet. So just be aware there's spoiler alerts in this here. So we get the breakdown of the two supposed half sisters, yet we haven't got to this point yet. So coming down from there, we get where we get to the meeting of the ladies because Angela Vaughn wants to be part of the society. She wants to make her name in it, and she wants her small business to be pushed by the DuPont family and the Franklin Fund, which is ran by Raymond DuPont, which is Morris Chestnut's character. So our first meeting is them at a social event, the opening gala of the summer opening event. And, you know, the ladies, of course, have a clash already off the bat. You get where you said, you know, trying to be a socialite and you're not. The upper elite and the non-elites clashing and things. And don't get us wrong, Yaya's holding her own. She, you know, but she's just from Boston. She's just not a part of the society. She's just an outsider, so to speak. And she wants to come into the sisterhood. You got any thoughts on it, Sean?
Yeah, so I think, you know, to your point, what you were sharing is like, you know, Yaya, or I'm gonna try to keep to her character name, Angela, right? The lead character. She is coming out trying to prove herself. And, you know, she's just filled with, you know, so much light and energy. And she's walking into this environment, which I'm sure many of us can, you know, identify with, where you are, like Jay said, an outsider, right? So everybody pretty much in this section of town that she's walking into is very wealthy. She would be considered middle class or working class, right? She is a single mom. It's just her mom has passed away, and it's just her mom and her aunt, I'm sorry, and her teenage daughter. So they're all coming into Oak Bluffs to reclaim their peace, right? Their peace, because the mom left her this home, which, if you envision it, for those who maybe haven't seen, it's like an old school style firehouse, loft type house. That really has lots of work. And if you compare it to the mansions and the beautiful Victorian homes that exist on Martha's Vineyard in the Oak Bluff section, it pales in comparison, aesthetically, we'll say. So, but Angela is not even thinking about that. She's like, listen, this is my birthright. My mom was a piece of history in this town. Her mom, and I think her family, that came before her, were either servants or worked as small business owners in the town. So that was that's where they fit in the scheme of things. So we're going to see Angela really strike out and try to, she's really trying to fulfill her mom's wishes of wanting her ashes to be spread in Oak Bluffs. So that's one of the things that she's trying to do. But we'll see more that Angela has her own mission that is not necessarily part of what her mom wants her to do, but it's her own mission. You know, so like we all do, she has something that she wants to prove.
And what was also noticeable is, like most of us Black people in America, our lack of history. She didn't have much history on her mother, nor no history on her father at all. And so, you know, this is pushing her fire to find out more about who she is, where she come from, who her mother was, and possibly even who her father is. If he's even related to this town. And we'll come to find out more about that later on. But yeah, that definitely fuels her as far as wanting to fit in with this crowd, even if her mother wasn't a part of the crowd, so to speak. And so that's what leads us to finding out what her mother really does and things as she, gets into it, when she gets into it with Layla Franklin DuPont. Now, on the other hand, we have Layla Franklin DuPont, who has her own dynamic with her daddy and stuff, because her daddy is one of the wealthiest men around. He is a business owner. He has tripled, quadrupled, multiplied their family business into a very big, profitable industry. And she's not happy with the way he's been moving about doing it. And so she wants to take over, which was an interesting dynamic because most of the time we do see the men in the family leading. And in this case, she was more of the leader, at least to begin with, than her husband. Her husband is like a bit of a subordinate to her daddy. He's with the company because their companies are somehow tied together. His company is like an under company to the Franklin company. So he's a worker for her daddy, as we come to find out. And she wants to take over the family business, which I was feeling like, oh gosh, this is going to get crazy just from that dynamic alone. Like, the woman being the head and she's being the boss, and how is he going to take it? How is Raymond going to act in this? And, is he going to start coming at her because she's taking over her daddy's business or whatnot? We don't get to see that a lot with the man and the woman both being in the home and the woman being the breadwinner, so to speak. And when we do see it, we know a lot of times that is a toxic, well, I don't want to say it's a toxic dynamic, but it creates toxicity in the dynamic. And so for me, it was a lot interesting to see how this is going to play out. I know you have a little bit more insight because of the book, but, speaking of which, I'm a quick segue. According to the book, how aligned is it going so far?
Well, I think what they're doing based on the book gives us an insight and a window. It doesn't necessarily talk about characters. Like they don't, from what, and not, now the book was written in 1999 and released back almost over 20 years ago. I probably read it maybe 15, 18 years ago. So I'm like trying to brush up on some pieces. But from what I recall, it doesn't really tell a story of a family takeover or illegitimate children or anything like that. It more so just gives us a window. So I think how I envision the book, and bear with me, is it's the backdrop for the cast. So between Lee Daniels, Karen Gist, and the producers and other writers, they're taking the book and its insights into the Black upper class, and then putting their own spin of entertainment and drama to it. So these characters didn't exist in the book. There weren't really characters that were existed or a family play out of like a takeover of a business. They do talk about some of the families, some of the events that they participate in. So I think that we may see bits and pieces of that. Like I'll share with you, there's an organization called The Links, which one of my aunts participates in, and it is either like wives of affluent men of color, or it's women who are business owners, entrepreneurs, in corporate America, in academia, and they They organize charity events. They so it's not like it's not like a sorority, because it's women who are outside of the college space, but it's professional women, most of whom are in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, just to give you some background. But in one of the scenes, we see a ball, or we see a gala, and these are the types of events that the links will throw. Right. The links will throw galas, and they will fundraise. They will, look to donate for children's scholarships, or to help in different communities, to uplift, or, participate in various political events. So, these things really do exist. And I'm hoping we'll see more and more things like that. I know there was a charity event in the second episode, and very similar, those things happen, so that is a part of it. So that's definitely discussed in the book. There's also a Black men's group called the Boule, which is very elite. So it's all men, and it's elite men who are business owners, executive level, and they men of color get together, and you'd be surprised what men of color that we know that are part of these organizations. Now, I will say the book did get a lot of smoke when it came out, because there were some part of the Black elite that didn't want this to be talked about. It was almost like, how sometimes we as Black people, when we get like a level of success, we'll have what's called what's the term? Man, it just like jumped out of my mind, where we will feel guilty about our success, so we don't want to necessarily talk about
survivor's remorse.
That's one of them, but there's another term, imposter syndrome. That's what I was like, it was right there, imposter syndrome. So we'll feel like, I don't really want to talk about this because, one, I don't want people to know, or I don't want, to feel like I'm flaunting my wealth or the things that I have. And then another part of it is, I don't really want white America to really know who we are, or feel like we're trying to keep up with them, right? Because we've created our own. And I'll end on this. What this is birthed out of is because, obviously once we were free from slavery, we had to create our own structure in order to be successful. And we saw what happened sometimes when we created those structures. We look at what happened in Black Wall Street and Tulsa. Like these communities or Rosewood were destroyed, and they were flourishing communities. So there's still a part of us that are like, maybe they don't know that it exists, so we'll just keep it to ourselves, right? We'll just hold it tight, and just it'll be known amongst us. And then there's the other end, where the folks that don't necessarily know this as a reality, that are Black people, and they're like, what? So there's that dichotomy too, where they don't want other Black people to look and say, oh, we're now excluding you, but there is a level of exclusion because it is elitist. Gotta call it.
You gotta have the money to get in. You gotta buy your way in, so everybody just can't come in. And so to some degree, everybody don't deserve to be in. If I'm putting all my work and my effort into things, and I'm amongst other people who have put their sweat, blood, and tears into their projects and stuff like that, sometimes it's just like, I don't want some freeloader, and I don't care what race you are. I just don't want you having access to what I had to work for free and stuff like that. And it's not a bad thing or whatnot. I know some people are going to get some bad content from me saying it like that, but it's not a bad thing. I just work for it. If you work for it, you can have it too, and I'll meet you there. We both can attend the balls, the galas, the private meetings. We can do this all together, but put your effort into your stuff. Like I put my effort into mine, and just we'll respect each other's effort when we get there, And so I get the secrecy of it. I get the race part of the secrecy. We had those meetings while we were slaves on the Underground Railroad and how to get free and where to go and stuff. And you couldn't let everybody in because some people just hated you regardless if we shared the same skin tone or not. They just hated the fact that you were thinking outside of the box. You were thinking more of yourself than they can think of themselves. And they would turn on you. So yeah, some things that you have to hold to your heart, some things you just have to protect. And to me, I respect it. you know and we see other shows that have it in there. I've seen other movies and other shows that have the male elite clubs and the boys clubs and the yacht clubs and things. And you'll see the galas and more a lot of times and stuff, but you don't see them on this level of blackness. And that was a beauty about this show, that it was like majority of the people at these events are black. And I just loved it. I loved it. And I also love that we didn't have to look like another race while being black.
Mm-hmm.
Angela Vaughn let I'm coming with my natural hair. It's going to be up, down, wrapped around, tied up, draped up, And I love the first ball scene of the runway scene, the charity event that they had, where she had to do the hair and everybody was wearing naturals and stuff. And you don't see that on runways most of the time these days, unless you're going to an African show, unfortunately, or it's a predominantly, black event. You don't see it on high class elite people that they're wearing natural hair. And that was a beauty to watch, especially as a black woman, to just watch them be in their own beauty. Even if it was a wig, even if it was extensions and stuff, it didn't have to be straightened, permed, pressed out, or some type of European style. And that was wonderful, wonderful about the show. I love to watch. So, I was totally engaged for that part.
Yeah, I agree, Jay. And I think it's so timely with the recent release of the Crown Act, right, which allows women to wear their hair freely in any open space at work and not be held to some standard and, not be judged or criticized or talked about, which was happening for women of color, right? When they chose to wear their hair, it became a thing, right? They would have other women that, that were not of color and touching their hair and, oh, well, your hair was short today, but it's long. Yesterday your hair was short, but today's your hair's long. Like, what's that? And wanted to touch it. And now we've put some parameters in place. And in episode 2, we really got to see some context around the history, which was so interesting to me, about women's hair and how back before we came over to the US and we were in Africa, that was something that was revered in women. The mere braid pattern signified, what tribe or where that woman was from and her ancestry and her lineage, right? And now to, be stripped of that. And when they were brought over, many of the women's heads were shaved to rob them of that beauty. So for me, it's like Black women and hair. There's so much history there that I just found so interesting I loved how they brought that to life. And like you said, Jay, I love how they had all different types of natural hair and different hairstyles. I love natural hair, so and all of its formats, lengths, to me, I think that's beautiful. So I loved love to see it play out on the screen. I thought that was awesome. All the ladies were looking top notch, right? So I think this was a great display. And I just want to reiterate again, this ain't fiction, folks. So, don't think that we only as people of color exist and listen, me and you, Jay, we're gonna break down some reality shows probably.
For real.
The ratchet. I like to get in there too and talk about some of these other shows that are out there. That is a part of who we are, not dismissing it, not discrediting it, but this is a part of who we are, folks. So, for anybody watching that may not be in the know, this is true. Don't just think this is mythologized Wakanda. This is reality. So I just want to, for me, I'm like, I just want to hit that point home. Like, this ain't fiction, folks. Yes, it is entertainment. Yes, it is a television show. But these types of things and events and this part of and segment of society does really exist in America. So, and that just made me so happy to see us in all the multifacets that we are as people of color. I love it.
Exactly, because I was going to get into that point before episode 2 happened, where I was just like, it's good to see a Black sound family of wealth without having the race card play.
Mm-hmm.
And episode 2 kind of brought it back home. It was like, when we get to Raymond and his discussion with his boy about, growing up and we brothers and stuff, and his boy is white, of course. And he had to break it down for him even then, like, hey, yeah, we brothers, we grew up. But let me tell you, I didn't have it like you did. I had to work for mine. I had to get in the dirt. I had to get in the mud. I had to grind it out. I had to do everything. And while you're over here blowing our work, everything I've worked for away, I have to get back in there and grind it out just to save you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just shows that no matter how much work we put in or whatnot, we're still not on equal playing fields with some of these people out here. And on top of it, we still have to work to save their butt in a lot of things. And it's just like, where's the credit? Like, why do I have to keep putting myself out there? Why do I have to keep saying all I did to stay afloat and all I did to keep you afloat while I was doing it without getting a thank you? We talked about it before, how much Black people have built America.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's getting thank yous before us. And it sucks a lot of times. Just notice that. I don't want to take away anybody's doing or whatever and stuff like that. I don't want to say that they don't deserve what they get, but where's what we deserve? Where's our thank yous? Where's our reparations? Where's our appreciation? Black History Month, okay, Juneteenth, okay, like, no, but we've done more than those little bit of days that you try to give us. A lot of what you see is us, even to the hairstyles, to the braids, to the now everybody want to wear locks, no matter what culture you are. I seen something the other day, and I hate to go off on a different tangent, but it was just like, just about the head wraps. And they want to talk about, oh, this is this culture and this is this culture. It's like, okay, well, at some point, Africans were wearing head wraps too. In some cultures and some tribes, they wear head wraps. In some tribes, their hair was their head wrap, the way they did it. So, let's not sit here and try to negate from what we've contributed as a people, as a society, as a whole for this world. But it's not second just to see it for a minute, just like, oh, we don't have to compete in things. We're just competing against each other. And then my heart was broken all over again. I was like, there we go. Back to reality. But it keeps you humble and stuff. And it reminds you, hard work, dedication, we all can be there and stuff. It sucks that we have to work twice as hard, but hey, we are resilient people. We do it.
Yeah. I love that though, because it just is a reminder, and sometimes this will happen, especially if you reach a certain level of success. People will challenge you sometimes in terms of the racism. But I happen to really, and I guess this is my little different take. Like, I love that he made him aware, right? And I think the character's name was it Harmon? Something Harmon,
the last name.
Yeah, they had a business together. Him and Morris Chestnut's character, they had a business, which I think the father wound up taking over and saving the business because of some type of bad business decision that happened that caused things to go south. But I love how he helped him and walked him through the privilege that he still had, although they grew up the same way, they had the same foundation, still with Morris Chestnut's character. And what's his character's name, Jay? I don't want to keep calling him Morris. Raymond. So with Raymond, he made it so clear that, hey, listen, bro, we grew up, we were friends, we ran around in each other's house, but don't ever get it twisted. I had to work for everything that I got still. And your father gave you the ability and the landing spot. But we, as people of color, even once we reach success, we are still pushing our kids in a way because we know the reality of the world that exists out there. So he wasn't giving that safe landing and the, oh, you can kind of be a playboy and kind of, you know, have dalliances and do whatever you want. You know, his trajectory was very clear from very early on, and he knew if he wanted to be where he wanted to be, there wasn't going to be a lot of wiggle room for him to kind of play the same games that the other character, his other white counterpart did. So I love that he made that clear. You know, that part really did resonate to me, so I wanted to kind of just add that in there.
Yeah, no, I did love that he broke it all the way down for him and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I was just brokenhearted that we had to go there again, especially so soon. But it is reality, and it's our reality overall. You know, it reminds us, you know, sometimes no matter how hard we work, some people just get the advantage just because of skin tone, unfortunately, you know.
Yep.
And then in some cases it's not just skin tone, you know, just because their family is who they are.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure we'll get into some of that later on, where it's black families against black families and stuff as the show goes along. Because as we know that as we start to uncover some of these lies, like I wrote on the title, uncover ups, you know, because and I'm going to bring my boy in at this point right now. I'm calling him Daddy Pope. I love him because, you know, this man knows how to cover up some stuff since scandal days or whatnot. But Mr. Franklin DuPont, you know, like him himself, like, I mean, not Franklin DuPont, but Daddy Franklin, excuse me. You know, he's the man, and he's played by what is his name?
Joe Morton.
Yeah, that's it. Because I was like, I had it just a second ago. Joe Morton, and we seen this man everywhere, and he's fantastic at what he does or whatnot. But this brother, his characters knows how to hide some mamas, get rid of some mamas, put away some mamas. Because we got one mama's in the home. One mama is now dead and gone, but you know she was eventually paid off. And if we add Olivia Pope's mama up in there, she was hidden off and supposedly gone for the longest and stuff. So Daddy Pope be doing his thing. Daddy Franklin Pope. That's what I'm gonna call him. But yes, I love it. I love it. That was the best character that you can have for this role, because he is Black royalty, so to speak. He has the authority, presence that commands a room and knows he's about business when you see him on the screen. So to me, he was one of the best Black male figures that we have out here that can sure enough play this role, because there's something about him. He has enough charisma about him that you like him. For whatever reason, you like him, but you just know he's the worst or whatnot. And it's just like there's plenty, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of Black actors that can play this like this. But it's just something about him playing these roles. It just sets it off for me every time. It's like you're so engaged by him, but you just know he's just the worst. He just means no good, even though he's going to do what he needs to do for his family. And that's the thing about him. He's doing all of this to preserve his family's legacy and stuff. And by any means, he's going to play the white man's game, the Black man's game, the Chinese man's game. He's going to play all games to make sure his family legacy, the Franklins, are known and stay known for years after he's gone. And you just got to love it. I love him.
Yeah, Joe Morton is a beast, man. He is the classic. You know, he can play that patriarch, right? And that's what we see him as, you know, in this role of Teddy Franklin, right? He is the ultimate patriarch, right? He is a leader in his community. He is a billionaire featured on Forbes magazine. And guess what? Again, and this is just, y'all gonna get tired of hearing me saying this, but they are real people, right? The founder of BET, Bob Johnson, right? These people exist. And
Mhm.
there are black billionaires out there. We get it, Dr. Dre. We understand. I no hate to Jay-Z. He's a black billionaire, but there are black men that are
Wall Street.
in corporate America that have been successful. There is another famous black billionaire. Unfortunately, I believe he's passed away since, but his name is Reginald Lewis, and
Mhm.
he started many businesses. And he too is part of the fabric of America's black elite. There are books about him that I've read back in the day. But again, I just want to drive the point home that these people exist. They have the highest level of education, right? These are the people that have gone to your Harvard Business Schools, Wharton Business School, advanced degrees, and they have earned their stripes and worked hard at playing America's capital game, right? So capitalism is a real thing, and Teddy has played it and mastered it. And we're going to see all the twists and turns of how he will not allow anyone, including his own family, get in the way of what he sees as next steps and success for his business, driving his business into the future. And he will step on toes, move mountains, doesn't matter. Don't get in his way. And he plays the role to a T. Nobody can do it like him. So that is it. I just love the acting. I love the dynamics between the different characters. I love the scenery, the backdrop. It's all so vivid, and
Mhm.
I think just a wonderful way to play this story out.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And I just want to say, according to what you say, yes, there are these people out here, but let's separate. This is a character. So let's not say that the people that Sean has mentioned have played these games and made these moves. Not all people are bad. Okay. This is a character, and we need his type of character for a good drama. So let's just separate that first before y'all be saying, oh, these trying to tear down these good men and bring them down and let them rest in peace, the ones that are, and the ones that still living, let them live in peace, please. Okay, so let's not go there. For y'all be in the comments trying to tear those people down and talk about how we'd have related them to Teddy Franklin. No, okay, they're not the same. This is a fictional character. We're just speaking on him and his presence of being a black billionaire in America. That's all we're saying. And so moving on. So yes, of course, we like you said, he is not going to let anybody tear down his business, including his daughter. Which right now, as we see in episode 2, um, she thought she had the upper hand on her daddy. She found out how he was trying to move the black community out for football, to build a football stadium. And if you guys live in LA like I do, you know how that has happened and how that's played out with the current stadium that we have now, that Inglewood has moved a lot of people out of their residence just recently for a stadium. And, like we mentioned, Sean mentioned earlier, Rosewood, which still is uninhabited at this day, but other parts like Central Park is covered up, an old neighborhood. Black Wall Street has been recovered up. There's many other towns that were prosperous black communities were at, and now they're lakes and stuff. So we've known how different corporations and different presences has wiped out communities by personal gain. And this is what he seems to be doing in the process. And Leela is not here for it at all. She is not trying to have none of this go down because she represents sisterhood. She represents Black excellence. She represents Black communities, building Black communities as a whole. Deep down in her core, she's that woman, and though she's a part of this society, and this society is kind of cutthroat in a way, as we see as some of the supporting characters make her do different things, you know um her core is not that. She's very loving to the core. She's just stuck in a society, grown up in a society where it's dog eat dog. and unfortunately, she's trying to stay from getting eaten. She's trying to remain on the side of, where she can do some good. And she's trying to push her daddy out. And we find out he is not easily pushed around at all. He played her to a fiddle in the second episode, had her shoot her Forbes cover, showed up, shot his own little cover at the same time, had her do her big announcement of taking over the company at the ball, and backfired on her. He gave his own speech, told her he is not stepping down, nor will he be anytime soon, and stuff. And she will continue to be what she has been this whole time, and stuff. So it was just like, oh wow, the twists, the turns, the uncover ups, the lies, the secrets, the deceit, the child. It's a bit much, and I'm loving it. We haven't had a good show like this in quite some time, to be honest. It's been since the scandal and what was it, murder, all of, what was that?
How to Get Away with Murder.
How to Get Away with Murder. What I'm saying? We haven't, those were good shows and stuff. And so we haven't had a good one like this where it's just mostly Black people. And I love it. I do. And stuff. So you want to say anything further?
Sure. I just love that two things. One, to touch on the topic of Teddy and Leia's dynamic, right? As father and son, a father and daughter, forgive me. So as that, you see that father-daughter dynamic play out. And, like you mentioned, she was trying to overtake him and beat him at his own game. And so many times, parents, especially of adult children, sometimes you got to put your adult children in check. It's just like, hey, listen, you may be grown, you grow now, and I respect you being grown, but don't forget how you got where you are. You know what I mean? So, and Jay, I know you have, a young adult daughter, right? And I know sometimes you may have to have a little tough mom conversation with her, remind her, hey, listen, I know you got your wings, you're going to fly a little, but, remember how you got them wings, and I think that's exactly what Teddy did with Leia. Was like, hey, listen, you played it good. You played a good hand. But you missed the mark on underestimating who you really were playing with. So he kind of trumped her. So we'll see how this all plays out, because in her mind, she thinks I can beat him at his game with his own tactics to ultimately try to do some part of good. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like good that's wrapped in toxic. Right. So sometimes that doesn't always work out the way, we try to do a good deed, but it's wrapped in something else. Right. We give somebody a beautiful present, but we wrap it in toilet tissue. That's not the best presentation. Right. So I think lesson learned. I'm sure the way Leah is, she's not done. She's going back to the drawing board. She's like, all right, you got me here, but guess what? I'm taking a break, but I'm re-strategizing. So I love that dynamic play out. I also liked about just kind of like you see the family cycles, which was so interesting, right? So with Angela's character, she was a young mom and she's a single mom. Mm-hmm. And then you see her mom was a younger mom and a single mom. So you see the dynamics, and then you see the aunt mixed in, and in the Black family, we do this, and women do this really well, where there's missing pieces, whether the male is absent, women will often build that kind of like safety net, and I love to see that. Obviously, we would love it if the Black men are there all times, but sometimes it works out that way. And in this, we get to see a depiction of it, right? We get to see how they still wrap their arms around each other. They still foster somewhat of a sisterhood. They're still checking each other and holding each other accountable. Aunt Piggy, I think is her name, Aunt Piggy. Mm-hmm. She will, when Angela kind of goes off gets out of whack, she'll kind of pull her in. Or when Angela maybe is a little too harsh or, driving her daughter crazy, she'll be like, you got to let her breathe a little bit. You got to, hear what she's saying. You got to let her be a teenager. So I love seeing that play out too.
I also loved on the DuPont family as well, the dynamic with Leah and her daughter, Lauren. It's that, it's the society's type of love. Like, she's trying to stay bonded with her daughter as
Mm-hmm.
much as she can. And that lets you know that her heart is not just into being a socialite and being the face of the society. She's really into trying to be a mother
Mm-hmm.
as well, and she's trying to bond with her daughter as she uncovers things about her own daughter's, sexuality and her truths and things. And she's trying to stay there with her in the moment, but she just doesn't know how. And you get that dynamic because then you also find out that her mother was put into a home, so to speak, by her and her father. And so you get that playing out to where both girls, Leah and Angela, don't really have that motherly figure, so to speak, in the now. They might have had them growing up, and we'll probably get some pass on Leah's growing up with her mother and how that dynamic plays out later on and things. But Angela had a good bond with her mom. Her mom taught her business. She taught her hair, and you do learn that doing hair with your daughter, that creates a deeper bond than just carrying her and raising her. There's something in that. It creates a special moment between a mother and a daughter for those moments that happen. And we got that bond that she has. And she's trying to build a sister. At this point, she kind of knows that Leah's her sister, her half sister. So she's trying to build a sistership still with her by relating to the fact that, hey, I'm a mother, you're a mother. I got a teenage daughter, you got a teenage daughter. Yeah, we don't have this connection, and I'm trying to stay with my connection with my daughter. She's out doing her thing and stuff, and I see your connection is slipping away. So if you find some type of remedy that works, let me know. Hook a girl up, keep the sisterhood. And I did love that about the show too, is even though there's this underlining secret of this broken down family, this estranged daughter, and this family that doesn't have no clue about her, but will soon find out. But the daddy knows of his wrongdoings. That some people are still trying to hold on. They're not being vindictive. Angela Vaughn is not trying to be vindictive, so to speak. She just wants the truth. Because, in that moment where she's trying to build that bond with Leah, she could have easily not gone there. And, just said, hey, that's your daughter, figure it out, whatever. But you could still see that, she wants some ties to the family. For what reason, we don't know yet. We'll find out and stuff, if it's genuine or not as it goes down. But it was good to see that for a brief second of, even though this is not the best situation for us to find out who we are to each other, I'm still willing to make the most of it. Still willing to find a bond, a connection, and build some type of relationship with you. So hopefully, and over the course of this show, that will play out. I know it'll probably get there, and then we'll have a turn and twist at it at some point, because that's how we do. That's how we keep the drama and suspense going, and it keeps us watching and things. But I would love to see that, because we do come from, as a whole, and people, most part, come from broken homes where there's relatives all over the place, and we happen to find them later on in life. And we just try to build a relationship if we can with them. And so that was good to see for a little bit. And like you said, the dynamic between the auntie, the daughter, the mother, and all that play out. I loved it. I know we didn't get into everybody else, but we'll go along through it and get there and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing that's sitting in the backdrop is like they shared this information about Angela's mom being arrested. So there's some story underneath there that we're going to find out more about. And even Aunt Piggy is like trying to tell Angela to just stay away, like stop digging deep into this, just let it be. And that's just that human nature part of us that's curious and we want to know. And sometimes we have these family secrets that our family has tried to bury and push down for so long, but we don't want to share them. And sometimes we just need to share and stop trying to hide and not discuss the things that are part of our history. And I think that's something that is, just a unique part of I don't want to say it's just Black people, but there is a part of us that for whatever reason, when things happen, we just push it down, and I think that's because we've just had to do that in so many different ways, in so many aspects of our life. We are so good at just pushing down and pushing forward. So when it becomes a secret or a mistake or something that, is kind of taboo, we push it down and we just push forward. And so whatever it is, and we push it down for so long that it just becomes a lie on top of a lie, and something, that just it can take on a bigger life than it needs to. So I think we're seeing that we're just getting a little bit of the surface of who Angela's mother really is, right? And she wants to I want to know more. Yeah, she sent me back here to bury her, to spread her ashes, but I want to know some of the missing pieces about who I am. I want to figure this out. And there's so many forces, whether it's her own aunt or other people in the town, that are trying to stop that. So we see that opposition that's up against Angela, but she's pushing. She's like, nope, me and my crown, we pushing forward because I need to know. I need to know so that I can feel complete in terms of who I am. I want to know who my father is. I want to, and if he is, then I want to confront him. And guess what? He knows who you are. They know who you are. And that's we got that tease. We were like, wow, Leah knows who she is. And so does Teddy. So that's super interesting. So I'm interested to see what's next. And then in that final scene, Teddy and Piggy are together in the firehouse. I'm like, whoa, what's going to happen?
Yes, that
is about to go down. She had that knife. I was like, don't mess with Aunt Piggy.
Wait, no, she had a whole gun out. I was like,
that was a gun? I thought that was a knife.
She had a whole gun pulled. I thought she was going for a knife, but it was a whole gun. I said, oh. And then his closing thing was that's how you treat an old friend. I was like, oh, friend.
So there's some history.
Right. And then just before that, you see her burning a picture of a woman and a man. So it was kind of what is this? What's going on here? I feel another twist coming on because one, and you made me think of it just now, and I'll let you have closing thoughts. But one, you made me think of how much secrets, and I mentioned how close their bond was, Angela and her mother's, but there were so many secrets that her mom had from her. She didn't know who her daddy was. She didn't know about this house because they said that she didn't find out about it until her mother passed away and left it to her. She didn't know about her mother's past, of what she was doing outside of Boston and things. And so it's you kind of do want to uncover why there was so many secrets. Why is this just now coming out after the death? And so I get where Angela comes in to play. I need to know, but I just need to know. And her mother's dead, and that's a part of her connection to her mother. Still holding on to the memories of my mom. And no, I got the hair thing, but I need more memories. I want more. And so all of that just keeps fueling that fire in her to just know. I got to know. Like you said, she just has to know who she is, where she come from, who her mother is, who her father is. And more so, the reason is because of all of the secrets that was held from her from so long. And and there's scenes where you even see Aunt Piggy obviously knows something, because it's by the time she finds out that her mother had sold her,
yeah,
Aunt Piggy's already crying about it. You know something, and you've been holding these secrets yourself. You know more than you're saying you know. Just tell me, why is everybody keeping secrets from me? And you're right. We do that as humans. We do that. We keep secrets from other people and not realizing that over time, those sometimes do more damage than just telling them straight out, hey, this is what it is. Because we think in our hearts that we're protecting them from something. And then once they get that little thread to pull on, and that thread just keeps going and just keeps going, they're not going to stop until it's unraveled.
Yep.
All those lies and those secrets and everything comes out. And sometimes those things hurt more than just giving that piece of thread in the first place and saying, hey, let me guide you through this.
Right.
Let me walk with you through that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a slippery slope on that, because sometimes we do think we're protecting another person by keeping some things in, and come to find out we've done more damage. And stuff. But yeah, I know we kind of ranted randomly on the first two episodes, and we'll shape it up a lot better for the people. So if you guys haven't seen it, I would suggest you go see it, because y'all get what we talking about. And things. But Sean, you got any last topics before we wrap it all the way up?
No, I think, we got a good summary going, right, of what we see, how we see the dynamics play out. Listen, this is our unique take on it. So, we don't want to be just like every other reviewer out there, or, so many people out there that are good at doing a play-by-play review. Some people do an analytic review, right? We're going to do a mixture of all of it and add our own spin. We'll take some of the themes and talk about it and contrast it. So that's more of what you see here on our channel, and what we're looking to bring to the table when it comes to when we do a television review. We'll get other opportunities to interact with us on a different level, but this is just our take on what we're seeing. From the first two episodes. I think, I'm so excited to see what develops also next between Angela and Lance Gross's character. I think Tariq Chapman is his name. And then we hear a little bit about him, and it seems like we got a budding romance going there.
Romance.
So we'll see that. Another thing, just lastly, I love how and this is something that exists in our culture too. It's the whole colorism theme. All the leads are what we say brown women, right? And then the men that are leading or supporting are also brown. So I love that they use these specific actors to bring this to bring this to light. And it's not to say light-skinned Black people aren't around or shouldn't be there, but I just love that, because this colorism topic does come up, and it's a real thing. So I love that they flipped the script and used different actors that were people of color, because that is a part of this elite society too. There is the brown paper bag test, and people that are fairer and that have more Eurocentric features that are Black or who could pass were a lot of times who you saw that were at the upper echelons of Black America at the time, and sometimes we see even now today. So I'm glad that they flipped the narrative, is what I want to say. I loved. That was the last point I did want to mention about what I saw too.
No, that's definitely a good point, because I love me some chocolate. Hey, I was not mad at none of the eye candy all across the screen and stuff. I love my Black people. I don't care what color you are. If you know my family, a lot of them are chocolate. So it's like, I love it. We are beautiful, every shade we are and stuff. But yes, that was great to see darker shades being of the elite, because we act like in this society that's impossible. And it's really sad that we are down that path already, that you have to be past the paper bag test, brown paper bag test, or you have to be my complexion or lighter or whatever just to be in these societies. And it's like, no, you don't. You just have to make it. You have to be about your shit. You have to work hard and grind and do your thing, and you can be amongst these communities. And yes, that was beautiful to see. I loved it. I'm glad that you all stayed with us through this review, because it was episode 1 and 2, so it was a little long or whatnot. And like Sean said, we have a different take. We're not just going to go through the show like this. We like to get in depth with human behaviors. We like to talk about society as a whole, what we see as a whole, and we use these shows to do it. So, if you like how we do it, we're going to give you the history. We're going to give you, our thoughts, our opinions. what we see as growing up in our history and, our upbringing, as well as what is on the show. So, we appreciate you guys being here. Like, share, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you go follow my boy Sean's channel on his unfiltered opinions and stuff, because he gonna give y'all the raw and real. Trust me. So y'all follow that title over there that says Sean Unfiltered on YouTube. You go make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Follow us on IG. Stay with us here. Click that bell button because we're gonna have more rounds. Trust me. This is a fight night every night with us. So we're gonna have more rounds. Y'all stay tuned. We will keep you entertained the best way we know how, and that's through conversation. We appreciate you all for being with us, joining us, and please, hey, through conversation, it's gonna be a celebration or a dragonization, one of the two. We gonna get it in. Tell the people what you got to tell them, Sean.
Well, you said it all, Jay. Just like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue to drop this content, so we need your support. So please leave some comments, tell us what you think, add your opinions, tell us your experiences. For anybody that maybe even has been to Oak Bluffs or Martha's Vineyard, or has any family or friends, or if you don't like the idea, tell us. We love all conversations, because that's how we get to the another round, right? We get those other opinions and outside thoughts, and then we could take it to the next level. So definitely please feel free to follow me on IG at Sean Davis 120. And I got content dropping real soon. The month of October, my birthday month, is about to be lit. So y'all just watch out. Thank you, Jay. Another good breakdown, and looking forward to our next thing coming up.
Yes, sir. I'll put everything down in the description box so y'all be able to find us. No worries. Bye, y'all.